to teach small-scale subsistence farmers biblical principles and how God is using nature to give us the resources that we need for farming.
We mainly do the training of Farming God's Way to the people in Zambia because we believe that farming is one of the most important things in Zambia.
This is a demonstration garden that we use for farming and experimentation with compost and different types of organic fertilizer.
It's a very good tool to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to the people. We first try to reach the hearts of the people, and then there will be a mind change. We teach them not to use chemical fertilizers and that type of stuff.
In the conventional ways, people planted 1 or 2 hectares and they harvest 2 or 3 bags of maize from that big field. Now we can help them and teach them to do it on a quarter of a hectare, and on a quarter of a hectare they can produce more than 20 bags, 30 bags even.
So we try to teach the people to get better yields on a smaller piece of land.
So let me show you some of our farming methods. We plant our maize and vegetables and everything using the manure or compost, but as a nitrogen source we need to add what we are using here on my right. It's called comfrey, Russian comfrey, and we use the leaves to make a comfrey tea. So we chop the leaves into smaller pieces and dissolve it into water, and within 2 weeks we have a nitrogen source that we apply to the plants, and it has the same effect, or almost the same effect, as urea. What we also use is earthworms, and they produce what we call vermicast, the droppings of the earthworm, and we feed them cattle manure, and they convert that into a very fertile compost. By using the crates, we have the worms underneath, and as it fills up, we put another crate on top, and the worms will get through the slots to feed in the top crate. And then when the top one is filled up, we can remove the bottom one and use that, because then all your worms is in the top one. And that way you can separate your vermicast much better, easier. Okay, the soil is a lot like a battery. You can get energy from the battery, but if it's depleted, then it's useless. You have to throw it away. And the same with soil. We need to recharge the battery, or the soil for that matter, to continue getting good energy from that. And by using Farming God's Way methods and principles, we are recharging the soil. Okay, over here we have vegetables that we rotate. On my left here we have lettuce, which is part of the heavy feeder family, and all your heavy feeders are lettuce, your cabbages, spinach. They need to be planted with a compost. Then we rotate it with what we have here on my right, which is any type of legume. It can be beans or peas. The legumes fix nitrogen into the soil. So when we plant the heavy feeders after we've planted the legume, then it benefits from the nitrogen that is in the soil. And the legume will then be planted with any bulb, like onions and carrots, and they also don't need to be planted with any fertilizer or compost for that matter. So we rotate those three types of vegetables. We keep on rotating, and that also helps building up the soil. This here is what we call a chicken tractor. It's a portable chicken house, the size of a flower bed or vegetable bed, if you want to use it. And the chickens will feed on all the seeds and the insects within this area. And after 2 or 3 weeks, we move it on to where we want to make our next bed. And all the chicken droppings has fertilized the soil, and it's free of any weed seeds and everything.
People struggle sometimes to get good medication and good medicine, and it's expensive. Now, if you can teach them how to farm with herbs, and they know the benefits of herbs, then it's much cheaper and much easier for them. Plants like marigold and plants like your garlics, you know, the flowering garlics. If you plant these plants between your vegetables, it deters the insects. So in other words, it's a natural pesticide.
I just want to demonstrate this pump to you, how it works. Actually, what we do, we use this pump to drain the water from the fish pond, and the water that we take out from the fish pond, we put on the vegetables because it is very fertile. And the fish that we have in here, when they grow big, like my hand the way it is, we sell them to the people.
Okay, what we have behind me is a pump that works in exactly the same way, except that it's a borehole of about 8 meters deep, and the principle is exactly the same. We fill up the tank on top there, and from there we have a drip irrigation that feeds the vegetable garden.
The reason why we have put this chicken house on top here is that the droppings from the chickens, they fall directly onto the water so that the algae can grow fast, and the fish, they also eat the algae so that they can grow fast and nice. And here inside the chicken house, there at the bottom we have put some strips of bamboos, whereby they have got some spaces so that the dropping can fall into the water. Here you have some rabbits. We feed them the leftovers from the plants, and then their droppings, we get them or we correct them and put them in the fish pond so that the fish can eat them.
The rabbits again, they multiply very, very quick, and we sell them to be good protein source to the local people there.
And the whole garden here is like the whole cycle.
We received the amount of money to buy a farm. A bigger farm like this demonstration plot that we're standing at here. You know, we want to have our own piece of land where we can do the same as this, a demonstration plot like this, where we can teach the students more about farming, where they can do their practical training. You know, during the courses there's certain practical work that they need to do, where they can come and they can work their own piece of land, and they will see all the aspects of farming God's way, and they will also see the results at the end. We want to make it self-sustainable. In other words, it should run on its own. That it's not necessary for money from outside.